What's up, everybody? I'm back with another episode of the Keep Going podcast. Today's guest is Daniel Haynes. He's the CEO of Skyward Financial, co-founder of the Live Full nonprofit organization, a husband, a father, and a person that truly feels that his calling is to serve others and leave the world better than he found it. I've known him for years, met him over 10 years ago, and sitting down with him today was picking up right where we left off. We were able to discuss business, companionship, fatherhood, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. His calling to serve and his ability to love the world is extremely inspiring, and I can't thank him enough for sitting down with me and letting me get behind the curtain a little bit on how he operates at such a high level while still serving God, his family, and others. I hope you all enjoy this episode. Daniel, I appreciate your time. As always, keep going. Well, thank you. It's really good to see you.
Man, definitely.
I know we got to catch up quite a bit before the pod, but we haven't seen each other in years. So you pulling up and then it just being automatic again. I love these relationships.
And those are the easiest relationships.
They are, for sure. Man, so just tell the people a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis in the financial world, because I've been knowing you for over 10 years, but as far as following your career, it's been really nice to see that financial side just grow.
Yeah.
So before we dive into origin and things like that, I'd like to know just kind of what you do on a daily basis and then kind of go from there.
Yep. So my name is Daniel Haynes, and on the day-to-day, what I do is I am a CEO of an accounting firm called Skyward Financial Solutions, where we assist nonprofits, small to mid-sized businesses with accounting needs, as well as CFO advisory services, some internal auditing services as well. I'm a certified fraud examiner as well. So it's the, the black Suburbans. Like, I got a lot of those contacts, So that's typically what I do on a day to day. And also my wife and I, we manage a nonprofit called Live Full as well, where it's an outreach nonprofit where we just pretty much go out and serve in different capacities around the state, things like that, more so partnering with other nonprofits or serving families, in the community as well. So it's all in all, in a nutshell, man, I'm a servant. So I just spend my day serving people, either vocationally with the accounting firm or relationally with with our nonprofit, so. Yep.
So much intention with the work. So I love it.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about why moving towards the financial realm. Is that what you were planning to do the whole time as far as going through school and things like that?
Bro, let me kid you not. So I'll say my accounting journey, it started off pretty drastic, and most people don't know this. But so when I grew up in a small town called Boynton, Oklahoma.
Boynton. Where's that?
It's probably about an hour south of Tulsa. And the only time you're going to see it on the map, east side of Oklahoma only time you're going to see it on the map is if there was a tornado in the area. You know how they show all the small towns, like, there's Boynton, very small town. But, my hometown, because it's so small, we didn't have many opportunities, in the hometown. So we spend most of our time playing basketball or riding horses, So it's one of those things where I grew up, I wanted to play basketball, but my parents were divorced growing up as a kid, but after 8th grade, I went to live with my dad in Tulsa. So I started going to school at Union in Tulsa, and
which was probably a drastic change compared to that small town.
Small town, mostly everybody looked like me. They're my cousins, aunties, and uncles to this multicultural school. And you're talking 1,000 people per grade. I had 20 people in my class. Yeah, so extremely
per grade. Is crazy.
Exactly. It was a huge change, but. Yeah, man, my freshman year in high school, man, I collapsed at a basketball game when I was playing at Union and had an enlarged heart. So had to wear the heart monitor, do all the tests and things like that. And then going into my junior year, one of my best friend from Boynton, he collapsed in a basketball game. And unfortunately, he passed away too as well. So at that time.
While you all were in high school?
Yes. So he was a year older than me. So he was going into a senior year. I was going into my junior year. He's going to a senior year at Boynton. And I was still at Union at the time. And when that happened, I was like, of course, all the thoughts of, man, okay, God, why him? Why not me? Just things like that, because I lived that. And, so at that point, I just okay, I feel like God had a call in my life. And I went to a camp called Kids Across America up in Missouri. And some people call it KA. it's a phenomenal Christian sports camp, so there I gave my life to Christ,
As a sophomore or a junior?
Yep, going into my junior year.
Yeah,
Yep, gave my life to God, and that summer after my best friend died, and it just felt like God just had a calling on my life. And I remember my sophomore year at Union, I didn't take it. I was taking French, and then it was like one of those days where they have like the school people come in and talk, about what they do, right? And the school accountant for Union, at least one of them, came in like, "Yep, I'm an accountant. I do this. Da 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 da. You should think about it. And so that junior year, after I gave my life to Christ, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna sign up for accounting as an elective. So I took accounting as an elective in my junior year, and I was like, I like this. So after I gave my life to Christ, I came, my life is bigger than basketball, right? So I was like, okay. When I took that my junior, like, I think I know what I want to do with my life, So 16 at the time, it's like, yep. I'm sure I was like the only one in class that liked accounting at 16, and things like that. And my teacher there, they were studying like for their CPA at the time too as well. And tell me some more about it.
I think it's crazy that you just like went straight improvement. Yeah. When most people deal with something like that, it can make them like shell up. Yeah. And you were like, oh, okay, I'm going to change my life, give my life to Christ, and find a new like passion, and that's in a niche passion. Yeah. Yeah. That's impressive. That's what makes you feel like it is meant to be. Not only what you do, but the journey that you've been on. Because 100%. Like, how do you even make those decisions as a child? Yeah. And I think a lot of, for me, it was exposure to it all. It was exposure to obviously basketball, right? But also exposure to being able to have and hear from, someone who was doing accounting, right? But also even the opportunity to actually take the class, right? So. Especially move into that bigger school 100%, district. 100%, right. Because I was still in my hometown. It was like, there would be no accounting. So I think the exposure is a big part of it. But for me, I grew up a huge Kobe Bryant fan. My dad was a big Laker fan. He's like, yeah, you need to watch this guy play, So I was like, how can I translate the basketball passion forward to the accounting side of it? So I always tell myself since high school, I wanted to be the Kobe Bryant of accounting. So right out of high school, you went to school and then continued doing something in accounting on the side, or it was just school? Yeah. So right after college, it was majored in college. Went to Oklahoma Christian, got a partial basketball scholarship, majoring in accounting. So you got to continue playing and not have heart problems? 100%. So, nice. But also it's one of those where I had to monitor myself. So just kind of learning my body. And typically when my heart gets to a certain like heart rate and things like, or a certain feel, I'm like, it's an automatic shut it down, type thing too as well. So, but that's amazing that you got to play college basketball and still chase your passion in accounting. Yeah, 100%. And I think part of it was I knew that I wasn't going to play basketball long term, but I knew I was like good enough to play some type of college, But also, some people, they go to college to play sports, right? If they're on any type of scholarship, I was like, okay, I'm just here to help pay for this accounting degree. Yeah. You're like, well, I play basketball, but I'm actually really interested in this. 100%. So that's the part I was like extremely grateful for, just to have the opportunity to play a little bit of college basketball, but also more than anything, go into college knowing exactly what I want to do in my life. Because I know that's just not normal. No, it's not at all. There's like doctor this and this, and then other than that, it's all confusing. Yeah, 100%. So to be so focused, I feel like even this short amount of your story is very impressive. It's like the intention and the focus. It's really paid off. Yeah. So what was college like? You did 4 years or however that was for the financial? Man, so it was 5 years on campus. super senior, college, it takes time. Yeah, college was hard, for me, just due to a lot of things going back home and trying to manage, the school schedule and that accounting program there too, as well as playing sports on top of that, So for me, in full transparency, college was a challenge, man, especially on the mental, spiritual side of things, too, as well. Just what ways on that? Man, just a lot of, I would say some family things, just kind of navigating family drama, like I said, kind of going through things with my parents, my siblings, and just everything like that, but also do so in a way that honors all of them, doing so in a way where I can still stay focused on completing the accounting program and finishing the degree too as well. So I think just learning how to manage all of those hats, but also taking care of myself, Because then, like, we fall short of it now with, like, overdoing. But when you're in the college and you're still having to work that however many hours, and then school and then basketball and family, I almost think back of, like, how did I even go the right direction.
Yeah.
Because you're running so much. So
Yeah.
it's like, besides even the ability to do it well, it's like special.
Yeah. And also a great thing for me during that time, I also had a lot of people, including people at my university, that just poured into me, during that time as well. I definitely didn't get through college alone.
Right.
It took professors, it took deans of students, it took family members outside of college just pouring into me, loving me for who I am, seeing me for who I am, and just really encouraging and speaking life into me, during that season too as well. So it was definitely, not something I got to accomplish by myself. In fact, the exact opposite.
Yeah.
If I tried to do it by myself, I just would have dropped out.
Yeah, but that vulnerability and seeking help and then being able to receive it from folks is a blessing.
Yeah.
In the least way to say it. Like, it's just so special.
Yep.
After college, did you start working at a financial firm before opening your own, or what was that journey like?
Man, so this is going to be a cool full circle moment. So my last year at OC, went to college at. So one of the people in like the career field, I think one of their roles were to place students in jobs, right? So I remember just walking the campus one day, and he stopped me. "You're an accounting major, right?" The school is that small where everybody knows who's majoring what exactly. The school is super small, and I'm like, "I am." He's like, "I know a tech company nearby. They can use some help." So I actually had my first accounting job as an accounting assistant. My senior year. So then after that job, it was like a part-time role, which is great. Got me introduced to the field. Then, once I graduated, worked for an oil and gas company. That's when I got did some inventory accounting there. Then I got my license to be a certified fraud examiner, I think a year or two after that. And then worked for just in different industries, and nonprofit, worked for my church, worked for a large charter school here.
So you can be a freelance accountant with these different contracts?
Yeah,
basically?
so I was an employee in all of these different spaces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so I didn't go straight to full-time entrepreneurship, so.
But having that many roles.
Yeah, so exactly.
Wow.
So, because accounting is so vague. So I just got to experience some GL accounting, some inventory accounting, some auditing, a little bit.
And you were able to
everything.
balance that without going crazy too, with the different, I guess, types and having to bounce between jobs, because that's an hourly position at that point, right?
I think the first job I had was hourly, but I think it was all salary after that.
So you were able to just like do it from the computer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if you were having to bounce between the residences or what.
Yeah, so when I was in inventory accounting, when I worked for oil and gas, I pretty much had to travel a lot just due to counting inventory in a lot of different warehouses and things like that, which is great, great experience. But yeah, man, other than that, it was just a salary role, and I wasn't married or had kids at the time, so I had the flexibility to just really grind it out, right? Typically what people do in their 20s.
It's just crazy that you didn't go crazy doing all that.
I think I didn't go crazy because I just loved it. I was like, I feel this way today. Like, I truly felt like I was just living my dream. It's like, man, this is what I want to do when I was 16, and I'm doing it,
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think that's because it was just a huge passion. I felt like I was, like I said, living the dream. It kept me sane. If anything, I was like, man, I can't wait to go to work the next day. It was very, very few times in my career where I was like, you know what, I do not want to go to work today. Very few times.
What do you think made it so special to you, accounting?
Man, I think for one, I'm a huge introvert. So it's definitely one of those where I could be behind the scenes and like just serve people, where as they make decisions or help make decisions, provide the data, and things like that. And I'm perfectly fine with staying behind the scenes, but a big part of me, just who I am, like I just love serving people. So I think I connected with that, because that's what accounting is. You're really serving people behind the scenes, so they have the resources to go out and make decisions, or if it's payroll, help process payroll. Everybody know how important that is, right?
Right.
But also the other side of it, which I truly enjoy too as well, is the stewardship side of it. No matter if there's a dollar in or a dollar going in or a dollar going out, that dollar has to be stewarded. So I think just who I am to my core, it just resonates with some of my core principles: stewardship, servitude, and I can do so behind the scenes. I just love it, So I think that's the part where I just kind of resonated with it so much.
To find it so young, that's just impressive.
Yeah.
Especially for that type of passion.
Right, 100%. Not, like I said, I know this, it's an anomaly, but also I know just the how important the exposure was to it. So whenever I could just expose, because I'm a part of youth ministry now too as well. So whenever I can expose anything to anybody, like, I want to do it. You know,
Yeah, you don't know what'll click.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Or if it's a exposure to a relationship or to a person, like, you just never know what that could lead into. You know, for me, it was somebody coming in and speaking. Like, it wasn't something I saw on TV. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, you know, it was a person that, like, you know what, I'm sure about this. You know, just things like, so you just never know. You know, like you said, what would click with someone. You know.
So when you were doing the 17 different jobs, what was going on? Like, when did you start leaning towards, okay, I think I kind of want to do this for myself versus doing it for all these people like this way?
And so that kind of goes back to college too as well. So I remember, because we're in a, like I said, small town, right? And when I went to college, and, you know, these people had plans already figured out. I thought I had it figured out. I was like, I just know I want to do accounting. But as far as like going into like junior year, they already know where they're going to be working, these jobs and things like that. When we had job fairs, I'll sign up for an interview. I didn't get not one interview. My grades weren't appropriate, you know, and I had one particular classmate, man, and, you know, we were talking one day, we were working on one of those big accounting projects for class. I was like, man, what's your plans after school? She's like, man, I'm going to go work for my dad's firm. I'm like, you can do that? Because, like, before, it's like, you know, you could work for the Ernst & Youngs, like the big firms, right? But I just didn't know that families themselves just held firms, owned firms and things like that. So it's like, man, like, I want to be able to do that one day where I can, you know, have a firm that my kids can be a part of, you know. So the goal to have my own accounting firm started, you know, in college when I was kind of, again, exposed to it, right?
Right, just a little moment.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. And I just started the process, like, for the rest of that semester, like, man, like, I want to be able to do that. And just the confidence that he spoke, like, yeah, man, I'm going to go work with my dad, you know, like, where else would I work?
Yeah, right.
You know, and I'll never forget it. And that inspired me to have my own firm one day. Just, again, that exposure, man. So that's how it started. And I decided to step out on faith and really do it when I just felt like when I was working for the charter school, everything was great, you know, passing audits, team morale was high. I just felt like it was just a great time to do it. And I think for me in my accounting careers, man, typically early on, it's like you're motivated by, like, in accounting, the CFO or the partner, right? Those are like the two targets that people go after. But I just got to a point in my career where, you know, I just wasn't drawn by titles. You know, I remember, you know, my boss asking me, you know, we want you, you know, for you to be one of these people that can help run this department one day. I was like, you know, I can care less about a title. Like, I just want a towel. You know, I'm here to serve, you know. And whatever that looks like is whatever it looks like, you know. If I can do it, I'll give me the towel, let me serve, you know, and things like, so that was truly my heart, you know. And my career goal changed from, man, I want to get this certain title, right? Or I want to do this, to, man, how can I just wake up and serve as many people as possible? And what that looked like once I felt that we were great, you know, as an organization on the financial side of, like, man, like, there's other people that need, you know, these services and things like that, but they can't pay for it. You know, so I was like, oh, man, what it look like? I think it's time to actually start that accounting firm, you know, to be able to serve multiple people with different services, especially on the auditing, you know, internal auditing side of things, internal controls and things like that, because it's such a specialist, you know, thing within accounting itself, you know, that I'm like, they're definitely not getting that, you know, full time and things like that, but how can I give them to them fractionally and things like this? So I just felt good. It was a good time to pivot.
When was this?
This was 2024. Yeah.
So this new Skyward Financial is only 2 years old.
I've been in it. No, it's about 8 years old. So I started it when I was working about 2 jobs ago when I was working for my church. And so then when I started it, then it was more so focused on with the idea of accounting just full time, right? Eventually, but it started more so focusing on personal and family finance and things like that. So
it's been around for 8 years, and then 2 years ago you took the step to just
full time. Yeah,
wow,
man.
Wow. I bet you were so nervous.
You know, I was at first, but then I just, all right, this is what it is. This is what
just like everything else we've talked about. It just felt like the move, the right thing to do.
Yeah, 100%. It really felt like the right thing to do, and I felt like I was prepared for it because I've been doing accounting my whole career, right? But I would say the things I wasn't prepared for was to run a business. Never ran a business before. Been doing accounting, but never ran a business before.
And that didn't transition easily?
It did not. It did not, because, running a business and doing accounting is two totally different things, because I still have to do the accounting side of it, but also run a business and grow it and scale it. So not only am I just spending time actually in the business, that's what I was doing as an employee, just working, doing the actual work, but also how do I grow it? How do I scale it? And, just things like that. So that's the part where I got to learn how to do these things as well, or invite some coaches in to kind of pour and do some best practices and things like that too as well. So it's been a beautiful journey, man. It really has.
What have these last 2 years been like?
I would say it's been faith building. It's been exciting. It's been man, hard.
Yeah, right.
But also
100%.
a lot of fun. And all of that in the same pot of soup. I'll say, because the thing I love about it, the most is I get to journey with people, as they're trying to run their business, while maintaining their families and things like that too as well. So, like the accounting side for me, that comes easy. I've been doing it, for about 13 years, so I get that side of it, but also just to be able to be in a position, because you see the finances, you see the numbers, to be able to journey with people so intimately and celebrate their wins and do all of that. Like, man, that gives me so much joy. Much joy. Yeah.
What is it like celebrating some of those wins when you're given not the instruction, but like the guidance on how to progress efficiently?
Man, I kid you not, man. We celebrate it different ways. For me, just sometimes it's even like, we have monthly meetings and things like that with my clients. So, and just to see the smile on their face when I'm like, man, who are our wins? Like, here's what we did, as we're just dissecting the numbers and things like that. And just like, you can just feel the weight just like lift off their shoulders.
It's probably so much more motivating because you're grinding so hard in whatever field you're in, and you'll see like you are progressing. But when you're there to give them that attention to detail, it's probably extremely fulfilling.
Yeah, it really is. And just a simple, man, thank you for this, because they wasn't getting that level of support prior to, and they don't have to do it themselves. They can just focus on their business. So just knowing that you're really just truly helping people, and not only just helping them, but also seeing them win in life. Like, man, like, I feel like I was created to do that, just to see people win in life and celebrate.
Yeah,
it just gives me so much joy, if it's accounting or finance related or just in life in general, if it's personal relationships and people are winning, like, I want to celebrate them, and things like that. So we have a close group of guys, and when one of us get a raise or something happens within the family, all right, when we're going to go celebrate? Who free next week? Just stuff like that, where it's like, man, I truly feel that I was created and put on this earth to serve people, but also to celebrate people too as well, without wanting anything in return, so I think that's pretty cool to see.
Are you good at celebrating yourself as well?
That's the part I struggle with.
I figured.
That's the part I struggle with. But now I'll say I've gotten better at it, So now if I land a client, like, I'll go, it don't have to be anything big. I may just go to Brahms and give me a cookies and cream shake. I love me a cookies and cream shake,
I figured you struggled with it because I'll see you on your Instagram at 2 a.m. working, and I'm like, I wonder, like, I didn't think at the time until now. Now that you say it, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's able to provide that to folks, but still working on providing it for himself.
Yeah. So I've gotten better at it, or, sometimes I'll just go give me a glass of wine, or go play around the golf and just things like that. So now I kind of build in just times where I can just pour back into myself,
well, you understand like accounting and compounding and all those. So you're like, well, if I do that once a week for 22 weeks, that's 22 times.
Right,
like it starts. You can, and I know that's being funny, but you can measure it in a sense. And when you look back at your week and you're like, well, I got the times with my wife and children that I wanted. I got the time with myself, with my clients, and I progressed here. It's the same way you're giving it back to your clients, but you can see them like, oh, well, that's progress.
Yeah.
Now I can build another week or another day or another month.
Yeah, no, 100%. You're actually right. What about you? How do you kind of just revive, kind of celebrate yourself? I know it looks differently for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Good question. I try to just be present in the moments I am doing, because sometimes with real estate I do get sped up. But and it's been recent. I mean, over the years I felt like I've always poured back into activities, but even more recent, I've just tried to say yes more to the one day things.
Yeah.
So, because in the past I felt like I struggled with, well, if I can only do it for that day, or say like they want to go hike one day, I'm like, well, I could just do this. Or even though I'm an outdoorsy guy, but if it was just one day, I was like, But now I've started to say yes to where it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's this one time. Or, yeah, I know 4 Saturdays in a row you had something scheduled with different people, but it's for a good reason. Enjoy it. So that's helped a lot. Just saying yes more to not only the business things, because that seems to come natural. You'll just be like, yep, work on it. Yep, work on it. But when your wife asks you something, or a friend's like, yeah, I want to play golf, or I want to go shoot guns or play basketball, or all these things. It's like, I don't have to do it 5 days that week, but let me give it this one. So on an activity scale, that's what I've been trying to do. And then at home sometimes, or, well, it's usually at home because that's when I notice it. But if I'm in a funk from just like working all day, coming and going to look at houses, whatever, even if it's only 15 or 20 minutes, and this is more recent, I've been trying to just work on something that I think takes a lot of time, even though it doesn't. So like, I'm not the best at it yet, but like reading, I feel like for me, I want to read all of it right now. And it's like, I'm just going to do 15 minutes. Or like beating something or drawing something, I'm like, just do like 10 minutes. And then I did notice that over time when I, did the 15-minute stretch in the morning, but then worked for a long time, looked at a couple properties, but then took the 30 minutes to sit down and eat, but then worked, but then took the time to draw for a second. Then I'm like, okay, well, it's 6 o'clock and I've to check these boxes. I feel a little more calm. So no matter how big or how small, just taking those moments, like you said, whether it's grabbing a glass of wine or making a coffee or walking my dogs or something, just trying to be as present as possible, because I find myself getting caught up in not being present.
So good.
To where I'm just like running through it. I'm like, dang, I gotta. So I always tell people, I think just recognizing the moment when you're not being present is what presence is, because it's bringing you back. And as long as I recognize it, I feel like it's a win, because you can't be perfect. But in those moments, if I'm like, oh, I'm back, I need to be here right now, I'm like, that's it. That's a win. So just keep going the right way. But
that's so good.
It's always little stuff. I'll get caught on something. Okay, I'm drawing. Okay, I'm making stuff. Okay, I'm doing this. Okay, I'm working on the podcast. But like these little things that will get a little section of my time.
So good. When you had said that, it gave me chills, because there was a phrase that came to mind. You didn't say this exactly, but you did say half of it. You say, man, like, I know I can't be perfect, but the part that immediately came to my mind when you said that, I'm like, man, but we can be better. That is so good. Like when you said that, like it gave me chills. Like, man, like that's so good. Like,
well, no, that gives me chills hearing that part, because I always think, well, I thought in the past that everything was like more absolute, where it had to be perfect now or whatever it was. But learning through real estate and life and just being a man that's experienced more today than when we met, I've realized constant progress, because especially in the entrepreneur world, it never stops. So you have to find a way to like ride the ride, and then find how you like it and just take the journey that way.
Right.
And I think the constant progress, instead of just big like milestones, helps you a lot more, because I'll know people that'll just grind it out because there's this one thing they want and they get it and they forgot all this.
Right.
And something I've tried to be aware of is how fast time is going, which you probably understand even more being a father. But I want, like, this is the thing you wanted. Like you're saying, 16 years old, found your passion, you're working for it. This is what you wanted. So don't like do it so well that you forget to enjoy it. Because I think that's very easy. Where you just grind it out. Numbers are good. All this is good. It's like, feel it. So that's what I try to do. You've got me worked up now, because that's really what I think drives the most passion in me, is I love helping clients. I love building relationships, talking, learning about people. But I'm like, I just want to enjoy it. And I feel like that's simple, but it feels like the right
so hard.
move.
It sounds simple, but it's so hard to just enjoy it in a moment, especially when you just so your mind's here, your mind's there. It's always like, man, how can I make something better, or how can I be better, and things like that. It's hard to just bask in it. Like, you know what, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy it and take it.
Just enjoy it. It's hard to say, because you always want to say, like, how can I be better? How can I improve on this? How can I do this? You're doing it right now. For the most part, if you have flaws or things that are holding you back, then you'll work through those and keep progressing. But I think it's not in a way where you don't think of those bad things, because then you're ignoring them and it's pulling you down.
Right.
But man, celebrate more than like the discipline, I think has been something that's helped me. Because in the grand scheme, you're most likely making more right decisions than wrong. But those wrongs just stick out to where you're like, yeah, I know I did 22 good things, but I'm a failure. And it's like, because it's easy. And I say all this not saying that I have it figured out. I'm saying it because I go through it on a daily basis where I'm like, did I do enough? Like even some days when I'm working from home, I know I'm getting stuff done, but I feel like time goes by so fast. And then I'm like, did I get it done? I'm like, what are you trying to get done? That's what I'll talk to myself when I'm sitting at my desk at home, because I love my little space I have, and I'm sitting there at like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and I'm like, is there like some measurement that I'm thinking I need to hit to be comfortable? And then I'm just like, you did a day. But I think coming from a background, I mean, I've been in real estate almost 10 years now, but you know, I was used to a normal job where you progress as much as you can for that 8 hours, and then you move on and then come back and blah, blah, blah. And I think sometimes on the entrepreneurial side, you're just like, which there are times you should just go hard. Like if you have free time, and I notice it with you or with myself, if you get that time of quiet where everyone's already asleep, maybe you do lock into another project or something that you can get focused to. But I think not trying to hit like some imaginary point. Like, of course, hit your KPIs, the things that are important to you. But it's just endless. And I think that's where I would go crazy in the past, to where now I just try to find a balance with it. Ever going challenge, but better than before. And like you said, I'm better. I may not be perfect, but I'm better. And I love that. I'm going to have to keep that, because it's so much easier to harp on the negative. But it doesn't help. Correct and move on. But
I think for me, I think you can relate to it as well, because you're a basketball player. For me, it's like I said, my favorite player is Kobe Bryant. And it's like, when I look at Kobe Bryant, of course, he's known for his scoring ability more than anything, right? And just ability to make tough shots and things like that. But the other thing is that, man, he missed a lot of them. You know, same with Michael Jordan, man.
So many.
You know, great score, but he didn't make them all, you know. So I think for me, when I processed it, when I just kind of sit down and like, okay, Kobe didn't make them all, you know, it kind of allows myself to give myself a little bit more grace, you know, when like, I missed the mark there. Or it's like, you know what, I did hit it there, or man, I missed it there. You know, it just kind of allows me just to have a little bit more grace, but also going back to the Kobe thing, one of my favorite Kobe Bryant quotes, he has a ton of them. It's, you know, the dream is not the destination, it's the journey, you know. So it just allows me, like, you know, no matter, you know, it's not wait till I get there. It's like, man, how can I just enjoy this journey and make this journey what I want it to be, you know, and things like that. So I'm big on just enjoying things for now for what it is, you know, not trying to, all right, when I get there, you know, when I get there, you know, this is the goal, and nothing matters but the goal, you know, and think for me, like, I'm not, of course, I think we both value results to an extent, but for me, I'm not driven by the results. I'm driven by the journey. You know, I'm driven by, the things that makes results happen, you know, the reps in practice, right? So
I struggled with that a lot growing up, in just a basketball sense and in a life sense. And I've learned it as I've aged, because like any type of correction sometimes would like make me feel like I diminished my progress. And I'd be like at 100, but then that would like drop me all the way down where I'm like, and I'll like freeze. But in sports, it happened a lot too, because like you said, it seems simple, but to people that play sports, they understand. Like the best players are the ones with the short memory. In basketball, for sure, because of how many shots you can miss. But especially sports like soccer and things like that, the best players are the ones that like just keep doing chances. And I struggled with the short memory for a long time, and I still do to an extent. But I love that you brought it up, because the small celebrations have helped me go away from it. But in the past, that was such a struggle where it's like those misses, and you'll be like, okay, well, I played a game and you're 7 for 11 and you're thinking of the 4.
And 100%.
Like, but that goes back to that perfection. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm better. And I don't know. It's a hard thing to struggle with, but something that I thought of when you were talking about that progress is, I feel like companionship helps a lot with, with like learning things.
Yeah.
I wanted to say 50,000 things,
that's-
and I
that is
had to
life.
simplify it.
Companionship, that is life.
Because it's like you can celebrate more wins, and I never wanted to get caught up too much to where I'm not enjoying just these great days with my partner or my family or just all of that.
Community,
but especially a
friendship,
wife, like you have to get, or husband, whatever, you got to get those times because I feel like that's where you're like, no, I want to be here. And I think growing up, every man's journey is different. But for me, if I wouldn't have found a true partner that was like coaching me, but building me, but also ridiculing when needed, like all these things.
Accountability, all of it.
Like your trauma's this, or this is this, or you need to work through this, or it's okay when this happens. Like if those things wouldn't have happened, I think me and you, and I'm speaking for you, sorry, could have definitely done what we were talking about where it's just burnout. Because we could go forever.
100%.
It's like if we didn't have someone to like regulate us in a sense, we would be like, no, let's just work. Let's just work. Let's just work. And then you don't get that journey moment. You just look up and you're like, oh, I'm 45 and I hit my goals and oh crap. To where like, I don't have children, but I know you with children. But having a wife, it like, I don't know, I feel like it just helps a little on that presence if you let it.
It's everything. And I'll kind of glimpse what I'm going to say with this as well. Before I wanted to be an accountant, I know I wanted to be a husband and a dad. I knew that when I was like, probably before I was even a teenager. I just admire, like, man, because my life growing up as a kid was so different. You know, like I didn't grow up in a healthy home. And like I said, my parents were divorced and just things like that. You know, a lot of aunts and uncles divorced. So I didn't just see a ton of like healthy families growing up. But I was like, you know what? I want to be married one day. I want to have kids one day. But I remember when my wife and I, Raven, were dating. I think at the time you probably was working with her. But it was around that time, and I was a workaholic. Like I would literally cancel day nights so I can go to work. Insane, right? And of course, she wasn't having that.
Right.
You know, so we definitely have to address that, But I kid you not, I think for me that companionship, I know, right? That companionship is everything, bro. And I mean this to the core when I say I would rather fail in my business than fail in my marriage. And it's not even close. Like for me, I don't define success as whatever my business Skyward does. Like it's not top 3 for me, you know?
It's hard to flip the mindset too, because when you're figuring it out, you're like, well, I just want to get stable.
Right.
And then you get stable and then some, and you're like still feeling like you want that same feeling. It's like, hey, bro, like, now this is where you work on other things. This is where like you have that time, those date nights and things, because man, that's what you're going to look back on and miss. You're not going to miss the goals. Like you can hit those. You're a great human being with a great work ethic, a strong mind. You can do that. It's like, do these things that take finesse. Like charisma, like all this focus where you need to be present, or it's gonna fail. It's not numbers, or clients where you can just knock it out. Because I think sometimes we get blurred because we're so good at that. You're like, no, I'm doing good. It's like, yeah, but you didn't put that cup up, like I said 2 days ago. And you're like, and it's so simple, and it can be bigger things too. But it's like just those little moments. So you hit it right on the head. I love that you've had that feeling from being young, because a lot of people that struggled as a child, they flip it. But there is that other percentage that go the other way. But for you were able to flip it and also change when the heart issue came for you, when happened with your friend and he passed. Like all these little steps where you could have just easily went to what's comfortable for people. That's like the easier route. Struggling growing up, all these challenges. But you're like, no, I'm just not better than it, but it's like, I want better. And that's 100%, that's a crazy thing to look back on. Are we relatively the same age? How old are you?
35.
Okay.
35. I'm like, I turned 36 soon. So I have to.
So we're about 2 years apart, because I'll turn 34 this year. So I definitely get it. It's like so many chances we could have went the other way. And it's like, no, we're just figuring it out, figuring it out. And then you look up in the goal, or like where you started, you look back and it's so much further. Man. But I know what you mean as far as like making sure to realize it. Because it's a crazy journey.
I'm sure if you take a moment, just like, man, if I would have made one decision differently, my life would be completely different.
And you're the only one that know those. So you're sitting back with a glass of wine thinking about it, and you're like, whoo.
I'm not supposed to be living this life.
No. I always joke when my wife and I are traveling, especially more international, because it gets more random. In the U.S., it's random too, but when you're in like a random cafe, in my head, I literally say like, in my head, I'm screaming it. I'm just like, I'm not supposed to be right here. So you're sitting in this little cafe in like a coastal town and you're just like,
yeah.
And then you're present, enjoy it, hang out, you're having a good time. But for a split second, you think of
100%.
like all those other times where it may not have worked and you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
And that's how you have to believe in God or power or like destiny or all
something,
these things.
right? Yeah.
Like you have to think it's something higher than yourself because you're like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the family help or the loved ones, the school, the partner. Like there's all these moments that you're just like, holy crap. I always go back to gratitude.
That's the word that I had on my mind. Is like just having those moments of gratitude. You've seen your journey. You see how far you come through, the things you overcome. And it's like, man, like, how could you not just sit back and like, man, I'm thankful, you know, because like it could be totally different. And I'm sure we both know people like, man, it's completely different, even with
all from the
relatives from the same area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we grew up in the same culture, same environment, but our lives look differently.
Especially when you come around them at this age. I feel like when you were coming out of high school, you know, the gap starts.
Yep.
But then it's still normal because you are all young.
The gap ain't that big in high school, right?
Yeah. When you get past it, and you're in your mid-20s a little, but once you're 15 years plus out of that realm, you're like, oh, I'm almost like, because I almost said free. I'm more free than like that 18 years of school, but like, you're like, oh no, I've been in the world more than, because for a long time you just think of that structure.
Right.
Not job-wise, but like, that's your history. And then once you get past that 15-year mark, I feel like that's when you start seeing peers and you're like, oh, I really like that they continued to make right decisions, or thankful that, you know, you didn't make a wrong one, or okay, I'm going to double down and keep making right decisions because I'm seeing people that I've grown up with or known of that are going the opposite direction. You're like, dang, it's that easy. So that's why, like you said, it just goes back to gratitude, because it takes me to gratitude and then like refocus, where it's like, oh, okay, well, just don't get lazy. Because it's so easy, but like, just keep having standards. Like keep having moments of, okay, this or this. And it's always a challenge, like we've talked about, but I guess it's just interesting to be at this stage of my life, or our lives. Like the 30 range, which is different. It's not really the number, but it feels like almost like a third, I guess it'd be like a fourth chapter, because you're like a kid and then you have like your schooling, then your college days, little after, but then you hit like a point where you're like, oh, am I a man now? I'm a man now. And then it's like a weird, man. I don't know. For me, at least.
No, I agree. Same here, man. It is kind of weird, just kind of looking back on just seeing all of life's stages, right? But I mean, I think even knowing that life comes in stages, where it's, you know, the kid, it's the school, it's high school, you know, even before high school, it's middle school, you know, and then college, if you go to college, or then the weird season when all school is done and you're just working, you know, just like all of that is super weird, you know, when you first get into it, and then you get adjusted, and then we get married. So then it's a new stage.
New adjustment. Which, like we said earlier, I think, I don't think that's the best decision I ever made was, or that was the best thing I was ever blessed with, is being able to like find someone that truly cared. And I mean, it's just crazy.
How would you say, what has marriage done to you? Couple things that it's done for you, how it just kind of helped you in your journey, not just from a professional standpoint, but more so holistically.
I'll go first and then I want you to go.
Absolutely.
So I would say, I guess holistically, she's helped me a ton in my spiritual journey, and it goes back to presence and gratitude and really slowing down. And she helped me a ton, whether it was practices or maybe getting out of my comfort zone, or therapy, or connecting with people that I should connect with, even if it was uncomfortable, or all these things. So on a spiritual level, I feel like it heightened and it refocused me. I feel like I wouldn't have got back in tune. Not that I was ever out of tune, but focus on like the native spirituality with my family, and wanting to increase that journey if she hadn't come into my life. And then also I feel like I would have stayed comfortable with the bare minimum, because when I met her, it was like the first time I was living on my own, but I was just living in the house that my mom had owned. Everyone was gone but me, and then I just paid like a very low rent. And I feel like that only lasted maybe 6 months before I found Rachel. So I bet I would have stayed comfortable in that and would have led to more bad decisions, whether it's working hard, doing good in real estate, and then going out and just all these things. So it like brought me a structure. And since she was so focused on, because she had to move out at like 17 or 18. So she had been doing it on her own, and I met her at like my mid 20s. So that gap, I was like, dang, so you've been doing this all on your own this long, and I'm just kind of getting out because I was in school. I played college ball. I lived here. I did this. I feel like it brought me that structure and that, what's the word? Maybe the example of that it's going to be okay. And then I feel like she just like taught me how to be a man, and we built a home, and I feel like that's everything.
Yeah, man.
To where I changed my entire lifestyle, whether it was the vices I had or the decisions I would make or the situations I would hang out in for no reason. Like I just so much more selective. That's why earlier I said, what's the word? Not preferences, but like standards. Like I just can't come out of this box. Like I've got people I've got a lot of love for, and they want to go hang out at this place. I'm like, just can't do it. And they're like, okay, we're all going here. You coming? I'm like, no. And they're like, damn, you're always so real about it. And I'm like, it's just, it's out of my parameters.
Yeah, man.
So I just think spirituality, structure. And I never thought, I thought because I had relationships, but I didn't know the feeling of being with someone and really thinking, like, it seems so crazy to say, but you're like, no, I could be here forever. Like, that seems so foreign to me. Growing up how we did, it
100%.
It seemed like it had an expiration date. To where now
it was
it's
a
like,
contract.
To where now it's like, it's a contract in a good way. It's like, even if you want to go, you're stuck. Like, not
100%,
joking, but that's how it feels. Where you're
man.
like, or she'll joke with you and be like, it's me and you. And you're just like, wow.
So the wheels fall off.
It makes me think of my grandparents because they were always best friends. And my grandpa just passed 2 years ago, but they were always best friends and always spent time on their own and like very selective on what they did and all these things. I'm like, oh, you just got to find someone. And they met in their 30s too. And I'm like, that true peace. Yeah, man. But definitely spirituality, structure, and just giving me someone to provide for. Because getting into real estate, broke, she was the provider, and then being able to flip that and change our entire situation. I can't ask for anything more. And it all came from her, whether it was structure or, we're going to keep the house cleaner, or we're going to cook these meals, or we're going to get healthier here, or we're going to work out here. It was just like so much, it just goes to structure. But what about for you?
Man, first of all, I'll say, man, those are some amazing things.
Oh,
man.
thank you.
And just...
You awoke in me today.
No, because I think, pretty much you're saying just what I'm hearing is, man, it's just added so much value to you. And just not only just adding value, but also unlocking things within yourself where it's like, man, I want to be better and do better because of her. I think that's amazing, for you even realize that. It's a lot of people, they'll be married decades and don't even realize that, just how much value that their spouse is just kind of adding to them. And I think especially for men, I think it's easy for us to overlook that. I know for sure that I've overlooked some things that my wife has done for me, at times as well, just based on the things that she wasn't doing, or that I preferred her to do, and just things like that, So I'll say kudos to you and your wife, man.
Oh, thank you.
Everything that you guys are adding to each other, man. I think that's awesome for sure.
Yeah, just building peace, enjoying it.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely. Man, I'll say for me, you kind of touched on the word earlier, some of the biggest things, how my wife, I'll say, kind of just contributed, to me from jump is adding that companionship. But also Raven, she's someone who I truly feel like truly just makes me a better human, like I truly look at her like, man, this is like the greatest human that I know. And there isn't one relationship that I have that with a family member or a close friend that isn't better because of her. In the way she just pours gasoline on me to have relationships with people that I love. Even if it's like something going on, if it's type like, nah, go talk to them or go love on them. Go do this. And like just kind of welcoming and really just pushing that, nah, go have a relationship with people that you love and care about. For her to just do that, I'm like, oh man, she really cares. She don't just want me just for herself. Like she wants me to be the best me holistically. But also, man, just a heart for people. I met her serving the youth ministry, so she just loves kids too as well, and she just want to help people. So I'm like, I think we kind of got that in common. We're like, man, we just want to serve people, right? So her just, just being her by just, even just pushing me to serve people better, serve people higher. It's like, you know what, enough is never enough. Like, keep serving people, keep loving people. And literally, so at times, telling me those exact words, keep loving people, don't give up on people, and things like that. So I'll just never, forget that, and I just take that to the bed. And I'll say some other things she's kind of done. It's really just kind of given me a place of like vulnerability. I always say that, man, like I truly feel like she's my safe space. It just got to a point where, I'm sure you probably can relate, where I feel like, a lot of times growing up, we were taught that, man, like we got to be men supposed to be strong, boys don't cry. It's just things like that, where it's like, man, bro, there'll be days where I just got a boohoo in the arms, tears all over the place, and she just welcome, whatever I'm feeling, if I'm feeling, just extremely sad of the situation and things like that. She literally just welcomes, and just kind of comforts, in those moments too as well, and never bring up a weak spot, as, throwing it against me or anything like that. Like, she's truly like, she protects them, and it's like, I think early on in our marriage, I covered up those weak spots because I thought that she would, okay, yep, I got a bullet hole right there. And I thought she would just put a finger in it and just turn it and just make it worse, and it just seemed like, oh no, it's been the exact opposite. Like, the more I share, the more vulnerable I am with her, man. She just offers so much love and care over those spaces, over the things that hurt me, that she has nothing to do with. She's like, you know what, I'm gonna protect that, and just think, versus like, I'm hurt that too, and I think, I was scared of that because I never really had that before, so just her protection over me. I know sometimes we say, oh man, we're supposed to be the provider and the protector. Like, man, she is protecting me in so many ways. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's different roles.
Right, 100%. But the protection looks different.
Yep.
It looks different. So, but also she also gets to give me 2 little boys.
How old are your boys now?
Man, they're 5 and 2, man, and they're best buds.
That's cool.
I love them to death. But yeah, she's she's an incredible mom too as well. Because I always say, man, like, I want to marry someone who I want my kids to marry, and someone who I want my daughters to become, and things like that. But if my boys marry somebody like her, like, man, job well done,
How have you all changed, and how's your relationship changed going into the parent role?
Man, I will say for me, I just loved her even more. The way that she just cares for our boys, it's incredible. From, I guess, in this season now, like, our oldest, he's graduating pre-K tomorrow, right? And I'll say, for example, this past year, every day, lunch made, he's ready to go for school, communications with the teachers, making sure the other one's good to go to school too as well. And we kind of tag teams, drop offs to pickups and things like that. And just, when mommy's gone and she's, out of state on a girls trip or hanging out with some friends, they're literally, every time they're crying to me, where's mommy? So they just know when she's not around, they're just missing something, so just to kind of see them long for her when she's not in their presence, man. I'm like, man, like, this is special, because I want my boys to have a great relationship with their mother, but also she's providing something for them that I can never do it, and things like that. So for me, I'll say more than anything, it just made me love and appreciate her even more. But also, I'll say on the flip side of that, we have to figure out, okay, how do we still make time for us? And I think that's an adjustment for any parent, right? I think it's so easy to get lost in, okay, now we're just parents, and I think we see it all the time where, those scenarios, typically the kids take over the schedule, where kids got more, dates on the calendar than the parents do. It's like, I never wanted to be like, I remember it's one of the things I learned from my pastor, like, man, don't let your kids drive your calendar. I'm like, got it. You're your wife, you drive it, let that be driven by your values and things like that. So, that's one of the things that just kind of learning how to even navigate that just from something tangible, as far as, okay, how are we going to lead our calendar, our family calendar, and things like that. So, and
I bet that's something that a lot of people don't even think about, a family calendar. Yeah,
100%. But like, I'm just like, I love my boys, but they know, I call her Fancy. They know Fancy come first in our home, and it's like, they've accepted it, but also I want them to have that expectation when they become husbands, that they keep their spouse first, their wives first and things like that too as well, because Man, it's so often you see, people get divorced when their last kid graduated high school. Like, yep.
We did it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's crazy.
100%,
What's wild is, I'm sorry, me and you are like so similar that it makes me just think of something. But like, what would have been better for us? The divorced parents or the ones that were together and did it well just to that mark?
Right.
I'm like, I always laugh at that because it was more rare for me to see a normal marriage couple. So when you said that and they like do it to 18, I'm like, huh? Because you never want to change your circumstance.
Right.
But it is interesting to think about because you're showing this, you said earlier, I didn't see any very healthy relationships. And then you and Raven have this one where she comes first and you set the tone with the calendar. All these things that it should be safe, peaceful, vulnerable. Boys are best friends. Like all these pluses.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And it's like, would it have been different? Like, it would have had to be,
Bro, that's
right?
a great question. Because sometimes I think about this like, man, if my parents stayed together and they had a healthy marriage, I think there could be a chance where I probably would have took that for granted.
It seems like the best people are damaged people.
Yeah.
You're such a wonderful soul, and it's because you have a tough upbringing.
Yeah. And, bro, now that you say it, I never thought about it like this, because I feel like I just love people, all kinds of people. I just love people. And I think part of it has to do with, I know the things that I've been through and like all the people that have to like have their hand on my life at different points and pour into me, people that look differently, different religions and all of that. Right. And I was like, man, like, how could I not love people knowing that so many people poured into me when I was hurt and broken, damaged, and things like that. So I think if that was different, I probably wouldn't love people as much as I do. I think that'd probably be the biggest shift that I would probably have for sure.
And it's probably elevating you now with that safe place with Raven and the kids to where, like you said, it gives you time to make yourself better. It's probably just exponential at this point.
Yeah.
Like it was like this steady grind because you were intentional. But then now you're like, since that part is so happy, just gives you so many opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
Did you all, I know you loved her more for seeing that role get filled because I'm sure a woman carrying your child is crazy connection. Like I know it's got
100%.
Like that's so different.
Yeah.
But how has it changed, you think, as far as like how you all look at each other, not just in the motherhood father role, but like, is it like, look what we're able to accomplish? Like confidence? Because I just feel like it builds the relationship up.
Yeah.
If you do it the right way.
I would say it definitely did. I'll say for us, it definitely drawn us closer as friends even. Because you don't know how many times we just look at our kids and they doing something, we just shake our head, look at each other and just start laughing. Just like, man, like, these dudes are crazy. So just that level of companionship, or it's like, man, like from a friend standpoint, obviously the romantical side of marriage is, is there, but just the friend component of like, man, like we're doing this together, like we're partners in this together. Bro, I feel like, man, it's such a calling in that, like, man, like we have kids together and we have to, raise them together and do so. But
I feel like sets another tone, another level of intention. It really do,
bro. It really do. And I think if you're not intentional on just really realizing that, you'll miss it. You'll miss it. Because for me, like, although they're my kids, I feel like there's a level of ownership that I don't have over them. Like, they're my kids, but also, I feel like at the end of the day, they're God's kids more than anything, So it's like just us being able to steward them in a way where it's like, man, we're stewarding our boys in a way where we want them to, for one, we want them to be best friends with each other when they grow up. So there are just certain standards, going back to your word earlier, that we have and values that we have as a family that, if we don't do these things, and when you do, here's discipline, but we want them to grow up to be great husbands, great fathers one day, great citizens within the community. We want them loving people that don't look like them. We want them doing life with people that don't look like them. We want them, serving all people, just things like that. But what better way to teach that than to show them? Right. What better way for my boys to become a better husband than for them not to see me as their dad love their mom with the utmost respect and integrity every single day, so it's like, even with my marriage, I feel like my marriage, it's bigger than just me being happy with my wife. I feel like, man, it's a calling where it's like, man, I'm married and my boys need to see firsthand what healthy marriage looks like. My boys need to see their dad love their mom, and everything like that every single day in different seasons and things like that. They need to see me kiss her. They need to see me holding hands with her, and things like that. So I truly feel like even with my marriage that it's just bigger than just me and Raven, that, it's our family, but even going outside of our home, man, like we both have stated, man, we didn't see healthy marriages growing up. So I just know that, man, even I feel like that's a call on my wife's and I marriage said, man, our marriage needs to be a light. We're called to kind of be a light to other marriages, and other people as well. As like, oh man, this is possible,
Just like the accounting and things, you never know that little piece.
Right. You never know.
They see it and they may never know you or anything. It may just be someone at church or something like that. And they're just oh, well, that's the crazy thing. They may come back around and be like, yeah, I always looked up to you. Like, I didn't even know you. Mm-hmm. And it's just because you're living a good life. And that's important. Yeah. I love to hear that for you, although, because we had talked about it a little bit when we were getting ready for the podcast, but to know like you all were looking at your wedding video and I was in it and then you were coming on the podcast is hilarious, because I remember going downtown and spending time with you all and all of that. And I remember you all walking in. You all had the nice colors on too. And just to because we literally haven't seen each other since shortly after that when we played basketball or something. So to almost go 10 years, almost 8 years, 9 years, whatever, it's so motivating to like, well, obviously we should keep doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But it makes me more just appreciative to see you in this state, because you were already a great human being. Mm-hmm. But to see that just level up based on the responsibilities you've given yourself and the actions you've taken is like motivating, to say the least. So I'm glad you got to this state, and you have more to go, but that's an accomplishment. Yeah, but also, man, I think it just kind of goes to show, because even me, like when I just saw you outside when I pulled up, like, it didn't feel like I didn't saw you in like 8 years. I know. It didn't feel like that at all. No. Like, hey, man, what's up? Good to see you again. That's what it felt like. It was so crazy. I was like, because it's not like we talked a bunch before either. It was like, hey, just see me on this day. And I think those are some of my favorite relationships. There's always the day-to-day, but that makes me feel like you live the right way, because you can't see everybody. Mm-hmm. But if that's the reception you get when you see multiple people, because I know I'm not the only person you have that connection with. It's like, I guess I must be doing something right.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you're leaving a good legacy.
Yeah. And that's the part where I feel like you and I are aligned in that, because even just kind of seeing you just do your thing for so many years, like it motivates me too as well. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, like that's great. There's other great people in the world who want to do it the right way and things like that.
There's definitely the benefit of the social media side with the right practices.
Bro, because like we see so much of the opposite. You could just open up your phone, turn on the TV, you see the opposite without wanting to see the opposite, and just to see some, oh man, they're really trying to do right by themselves. They're really trying to do right by their family and things like that. That's something that you've displayed,
well, thank you.
For the world to see, and just really shining your light. So I don't think, I don't think you hear that enough as far as like, man, just the light that you have, it's bigger than, than your own home. It's definitely shining. All throughout, Oklahoma too as well, man. More than more than more than you know.
You.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who's, man, I ain't saw you like 10 years, but it don't feel like it. Like I'm sure I'm not the only one that have felt, that, but also it's because you're so warm and about people too as well, and someone with that value, like that's on display. You can't fake that.
Right. No, that's a blessing to hear. Because it seemed like when I did like lean more into that direction and being vulnerable and just serving others, like you're saying, and being more receptive to compliments or more receptive to that notoriety, it happened more frequent and it feels more normal, but not in a way where you're like, yeah, cool. It's like more in a way like, I'm just going to keep taking those steps then because I'm just trying to do my best every day.
Yep.
But if that's the impact you're leaving, you're doing it right.
Yep.
Because like you said, it's so much easier to see the wrong, or this whole thing we're doing is so serious.
Right.
It's like just these little wins. It's like, well, maybe I won't be so hard on myself in that random moment.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, accounting, financial literacy, that stuff. I want to make sure I didn't miss that. What do you think are like the top 3 things that people are doing wrong, whether they're in not wrong, and you don't have to be like, take that as negative, but like doing wrong with their finances as an entrepreneur, business owner, and kind of break down what you think those like 3 common mistakes are that maybe someone would need your type of assistance to push through those.
Yeah, I'll say, the things I'm about to say, it translates to even outside of like the area of accounting and finance too as well. Because one thing, just from being in it for so long, again, one thing that I found is that the accounting side of it, it's only a piece of who someone is. It's only a piece of the world. It's typically in the perfect world, you want their finances to be in line with their other life goals, right? So typically the challenges I see the most often is one, they're trying to lead that by themselves, too as well. So especially as a business owner, it's hard to run a business. Let's say if your business is selling wood, it's hard to sell wood when your specialty is selling wood. Your specialty is not in an accountant. You didn't become an accountant, you became a wood specialist. That's why you're selling wood, So I think one, trying to do it alone, because if you're trying to do it alone, you're going to have limited time actually doing what you're called to do, and that's sell wood, right? So one is trying to do it alone. I think how that translates to life is we go through life trying to do life alone. I think for me, just kind of looking back, some of my hardest seasons was really hard because I was trying to go through that season alone, and so I say that's one. The other one is not having vision for finances and not knowing where you want to go, where you want your company to be from a financial standpoint. So I think, how that just kind of translates to even outside of the accounting finance side of things, is not having vision. Like, for example, I was talking about how, I was 16, I wanted to be an accountant, or even before then, I wanted to be married, versus like, man, I'm 40 and I don't know what I want to do. It's like there has to be some type of vision with what you're wanting to do in life, right? And I think once you have that vision for what you want your life to look like, you can even start to ask, okay, how much money do I want to make, in my career? If I want to make $200,000, then maybe I probably shouldn't become a teacher, just things like that, so.
Just slowing down from just talking about stuff,
right?
Like putting out a game plan.
Well, putting out a game plan for your life, right? So for example, on the career side of things, right? I think if we were to just really sit down and just kind of map out career pathways and things like that, I think that could be beneficial. So setting a goal for any area of life is helpful, and I think the financial side of things definitely needs to help. For example, if a CEO has these life goals and things like that, then how does their business, how does their business goals, align with that? How much money they're going to make from their business align with how much money they want to bring in from their business and things like that. So I think, that's definitely one that I see a lot of. We're like, man, okay, well, I can help here, things like that. So, and that's going to be more of like the CFO level service. That's the service I love doing the most, because that's the one that makes the impact and just kind of align vision with dreams and values, but also be able to track it too as well. So, and I think the third one will be, like I said, just not being able, just a little, I'll say cloudiness in just like where they are in life, as far as like, man, okay, I know I'm doing business, but I don't know how it's going, just things like that. So I think the lack of vision, but also the lack of clarity in that vision too as well as like just trying to do it alone. I would probably say are the three most challenging things, but also those three things, they often translate to areas outside of just the finance side of things.
I love that it's like basic in a sense.
It is.
Because just like a core principle to business, that's a core principle to life. It's like, okay, get help when help is needed, have an end goal, and then make sure you're tracking how you're getting to the goal. It seems so simple. And I love that from someone with your level of expertise, because you can probably clean up, we'll just speak in the business realm, but you can probably clean up so much just what that. What would you say? I know that's kind of a similar question, but maybe for a business owner or like a new entrepreneur that's getting paid and having to do taxes and all these things, what do you think are like three things, or just a normal W-2 worker? Like, what are three things someone could do to be, I guess, more financially sound? Whether that's watching their car payment or budgeting, or what are three things you think someone could do that they could implement more today without having to?
Man, I would definitely say track what you're spending money on. I think that's because I always tell people, your budget is going to reveal your values. If you looked at my budget and you saw, $3,000 at a liquor store, you're like, well, man, you're probably an alcoholic. I just look at your budget. Right through. 100%, and I think, I think if someone were to just kind of evaluate, just what they're spending money on, it'll reveal some of those values.
Not even budgeting, just evaluating what your tendencies are.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, I probably should change this tendency there. So I think that's a very good beginning step. Like, just evaluate what you're spending your money on. That can be personal or business, right? Just evaluate what you're spending your money on. And I think it'll reveal some tendencies, but also it gives some things like, I'm saving 30% of my money, which is great, right? You wouldn't know unless you evaluate, okay, where's my money going? So I'll say evaluating what you're spending money on, and the other one will be, I would say, kind of set some goals, set some goals of what you want to get accomplished, long term, like 20, 30 years down the line, and I think underneath that track some short-term goals too, as well, as far as here's some tangible things. I want to pay off my car, or I want to pay off this credit card. Just kind of set some goals like that.
It's crazy how freeing those moments can feel, because everyone's in a different level of that.
Yeah, 100%.
But when you're exiting some of those out, you're like, you do get to notice the progress. But it is nice to realize that if you just evaluate, you may be seeing progress in other areas.
Right, 100%.
Instead of just this one bulk payment.
Right. And it's like the evaluation is so important because it gives you a baseline of what to start from. It gives you a baseline what to measure, and things like that. So I definitely say evaluate, set some goals, but also track. That'll be my next third thing. Track those goals. Just kind of set a plan like that. Okay, if I know I got to pay off my car, I got a plan to pay off my car in 24 months. I'll say even before those 24 months have come up, set some mile markers. One thing, just from being in Tulsa and driving to Oklahoma City so many times, I can know, mile 180 means I'm here. And sometimes talking to my dad, what mile mark are you at? He is 170. I know exactly where he is, and just things like that. So it's like, I think mile markers are areas where we can even celebrate too as well, track progress. And I'm 30 miles. And one thing between Oklahoma City and Tulsa, there is a McDonald's, so it's like, let's stop at halfway. Let's stop at the big. Let's get a burger, just things like that. Or how many times have we gone on road trips, especially with sports, right? We've gone on road trips and we stopped somewhere on the way, in the journey. It became a part of that journey, right? True. Versus just driving all the way through it. Can we stop? And just being kids and how much joy it got to just stopping at McDonald's or stopping to get something to drink, or just.
It goes back to that presence.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So I'll say even just celebrate wins along the journey, along the way, set some mile markers to celebrate, don't just wait till you just, got the goal, then celebrate. Nah, because the journey is going to be miserable, and it don't have to be. Like I said, the celebration don't have to be, I said my car is going to be paid off in 24 months, but I paid off 5 minutes. I'm going to go celebrate and take me a trip to Fiji. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that, Hey, go get a glass of wine and celebrate just the progress or so, whatever the case may be for someone.
Celebrate yourself and those people you love.
Yeah, 100%. So set some mile markers and celebrate progress. Life is too short. Think about life that we all have in common. One day we're not going to be here. So what are we doing from the start to end time? Things like that. How can we make it as much memorable, enjoy, but also, full of integrity and love, where we can just maximize our lives, not just for ourselves, but, for our families and our community. I feel like that's what it's all about.
Man, before I wrap up, did you have anything else?
Man, I will say, what is...
Because I figured.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so good. We can talk for hours, man. This is so much fun. I'll try to say, what are some things that you would say is I want to get accomplished, but also what are some challenges to that as well? And this is just from a life standpoint, just some high level. Here's some dreams, or here's some goals that I may have. It could even just be with the podcast, whatever,
I'll just do stages with the podcast. Even though I don't think I'd stop when I hit it, I would love to hit 1,000 episodes and then just see how I feel at that point with all the experiences that I've gained and all the conversations that I've had and just the worldview expansion. I'd I wanted to get to 100 episodes so bad. And then when I got there, I was like, I think I want to hit 1,000. And so I'm excited for that, even though it's 800 episodes away. I think it's really cool to look at something like that on the podcast, because I don't measure it based off like listeners or money or the type of guest, I guess. I just want to have as many moments like this as possible where it's filling multiple cups, and you never know what people get from it. And I think that's really special. Yeah. It wasn't something that I thought I would ever want to do or thought would bring benefit to me. But on my hardest days, it still brings me positivity. So I would say, keep going with that and hit, a big amount of episodes. And I can look back and be like, how different am I now 1,000 episodes later? Because it's just so much intentional conversation that I would just not do. Right. I would just go somewhere else. But life-wise, I would like to go hardcore, like backpacking one time. And not one time, multiple times, but that would be a goal. I've started camping more, even though I've been outdoorsy for years. But I think since I've been practicing, like these 1 nights, 2 nights, 3 nights, different people I'm camping with, different styles, I would like to do one of those long trips, one of those ones that are kind of ridiculous, where they're like, I walked this many miles and it took me 45 days. I think I'd really want to do something like that. On the business side, I just want to keep growing the portfolio. I made a decision in maybe December of last year. Even though I've been doing real estate investing and all these things for so long, I wasn't really building a portfolio. It was more just capital. And now I've been in a stage where it's hard to build the capital sometimes because you're building a portfolio. I think learning a new level of growth and not judging it just based on like the dollars I'm making has been an adjustment. But that would be something that I want to keep putting the pedal down on. And I think one of the challenges that comes with that is finding a way to balance the capital you need to keep growing the portfolio while still managing your lifestyle, and then accounting for a vacancy or a damage or things like that. So that'd probably be the most financial, real world business thing I'm working on. But it's been going well. I've realized, dang, we're almost at 6 months of the year, and I've had my head down, and I'm like, okay, the income's different this year, but the level of acquisition has been high. And I'm like, well, that's what you wanted, so you measure it different. And so that's been interesting. I'm excited to see, because one of my goals is to keep building the portfolio, and then my wife and I move out of the country and go explore for as long as we can. And I feel like I was kind of slow playing that journey by just focusing on making money, because it's just never going to be enough. If you're just making money and then saving it or something, it just won't be the same. But if you can just build some long term, then you can kind of create a gap. And while I've been doing that, I've been trying to minimize my lifestyle. So it's been a nice equation. So that'd probably be the biggest thing I'm working on. Is I just want to get to that moment. And it's different for everybody. Some people need a certain amount to be free. Some people need less, or some people need this. So I'm interested in learning my journey. But I've been trying to get more in tune with my spirituality. I just danced in a powwow for the first time ever. I got brought into the arena, and it was a very special experience, and I can't even explain it to you. But it was a very cultural and
that's so good,
heartfelt moment with my people. So that was nice. I've been working on being outdoors. My wife and I have been climbing. I'm working as hard as I can, but still enjoying the journey. And I want to keep doing this as long as I can. So that's kind of where my head's at.
That's so good.
And just be present, man. But no, I appreciate that. But I think it's crazy that you never know what exactly you're going to talk about, but being able to pick your brain on the intentionality and the focus with like your trajectory makes it even cooler for what you've accomplished and what I've got to witness along. It puts so much more context on what I've seen. But for us to fellowship and really talk about our partners and fatherhood and vulnerability and trauma and love and grace and all these things, that's one of my favorite things because it just fires us up. I can't thank you enough for the range of the conversation, being willing to come on here, getting to spend time with me. I'm super grateful, man.
Man, it like I said, it was fun. I was actually looking forward to it. On Sundays I kind of evaluate my week. What's going on for the week, and just things like, oh man, it's this week. Because last week, I I thought it was this week. Okay, it's this week. So I was just super excited about it and just the journey.
I was too.
Because even like with my wife and I, right, you've seen a lot of that journey, too as well. Like, it's before we were married.
And seen all this consistency.
Yeah, 100%, so you seen the entire journey, and it's like, man, like I truly feel like, my wife, we're a place on earth that's for a purpose that's just bigger than ourselves, so why not lean into that? There's a time where I tried to run from that because I'm so introverted and I'm okay just being me by myself, especially being from the country and just things like that. I'm like, that is just not my calling, It's like you have a light, so let it shine, but also I know that when I see other people's light, I'm gonna let them know, like, man, I see your light. Thank you for shining your light, because my light was a little dim today.
I love that.
Just things like that, man. So, I kind of said earlier, man, just thank you just for shining your light, man. It's brighter and bigger than you know. Thank you. For sure. It's been that way for years. It's been that way for years. That means a lot.
It really does. Yeah. And the same to you. And I look forward to doing this again. I look forward to catching up with you when we can. But this was special. And I think there's no better way to end it. But it was, I'm not perfect, but I'm better.
Oh, man.
And I think that's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for being able to collaborate with me and make that a milestone for today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.